Have you diamonds ever seen the show Girlfriends? It was, and honestly still is, one of my favorite shows. It's a sitcom of a group of girlfriends and just talking about the lifestyle that they have, the ups and downs of each woman, and there's different things that they all face. So there's four main characters. I don't remember their names, all of them. I do know Joan and Toni are the ones specific for this story, and then I believe it was Maya and Lynn were the second two who were also one of the main part of the cast. So Maya was very religious, and she was married and she had some ups and downs with her marriage and divorce and remarried and blah blah blah. Then there was Lynn, who was just kind of all up in the air. She had a lot of things that she wanted to do and was perpetually in school and accumulating all this debt. And she just was kind of the free spirit of the group. She was the one that everyone essentially at one point or another was looking after. Then the two main characters who I want to talk about, there was Joan and there was Toni. And the way they paint Joan is that she is the moral standard of the group. She's the one who's always does everything right. She's the one who we should aspire to want to be like. And they demonize Toni as if she's some self-centered, narcissistic, evil, just very self-absorbed woman. And you guys know I talk about this in the channel, that these labels, other than narcissist, right? I will say this, narcissist, it has the negative connotation for a reason, and I do agree with that. However, self-absorbed, self-obsessed, conceited, I don't think it's a negative thing. And I'll explain that further on. So they painted Toni as the bad guy because she was all about me. She was a me, 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 me. What can I get? What can I do? How can this work for me? And if you know a little bit about Toni's backstory, she came from a very rundown town, out in the country, and her mother was an alcoholic and was essentially absent, and she didn't really have the strongest family life. And she built herself up and became a real estate agent, and she was very successful, very beautiful. She was the desire that she was she was the standard and the desire for the men in this show, as well as women in real life. And when I was watching this, I was younger, and I fell into the trap of, oh wow, she's just so selfish. She's the bad guy, and she's this and she's that. As I'm an adult, as a diamond, as I realize, we should aspire to be like Toni and not Joan. Joan was always positioned to be better than everyone else in the group because she was an attorney, and she just was always, it was always her role to be seen as the moral standard, the moral the moral of the show, right? If you look at her character, she was so male-centered that the majority of the show, it was always chasing after the affections of a man, doing so much to get the attention of a man. There was one episode when she called this man like I think 30 times and left him all these voice messages because she wanted his attention that bad. And then there was other instances where she just wanted to have the male attention so bad. She wanted to be married, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be married, but there is a problem with wanting to be so male-centered. And I'm gonna be honest with you, diamonds, that used to be a big problem for me. Like, I'm being so vulnerable when I share this. Whenever I was struggling, or I did not have something, or when I was just operating from a place of lack, and I share this with you, diamonds, especially where I was before, I always talk openly about the way I was in financial ruin before. So all of that, it all stemmed from, there was various different areas, but I can say that being male-centered was a big problem, and it was almost as if it was the catalyst for me accepting and putting myself in situations to receive such different, such a diminished state of being treated, that I was able to be mistreated and mishandled and misrepresented and not looked after. And it was all because I wanted the attention of this guy, or I wanted the attention of this person, or this or this. And mind you, I was a lot younger, so I do think this I do think that this male-centered issue is a younger woman's issue. However, if you grow up as a woman and you become an adult and you reach your late 20s and your 30s and your 40s and your 50s and you're still male-centered, or if you know someone who is at those ages and still male-centered, you need to stay away from them, because those are some of the most evil women you will ever encounter. Being male-centered, people say, when people say the money is the root of all evil, no, 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 no. The love of money is the root of all evil. And this is what I've learned throughout my own life. And I tell this to, especially if I see a woman who's beautiful and I get the chance to sit and talk to her and I could knock some sense into her. Listen, you do not be male-centered, and you do not allow yourself to be friends with people who are male-centered, because those women are the most dangerous and evil type of women you will ever meet. You know why? Because there's always going to be another man that they want the attention of. And if you are someone who either has that male's attention or you have more male attention, you will always be seen as the threat and always the person of a takedown. This has happened to me in my own life. And it wasn't always, there was situations where it was peer on peer. There were younger girls trying to go out their way to destroy me and to hurt me. But there were situations where there were older women, and I'm talking about women of the other man's family, older family members of mine. There was just, if I got the attention of a male, it was a problem. So once I got out of the phase of not being male-centered, once I said, okay, well, I don't really care about having the male attention, it's crazy because once you do that, it's like you receive it even more effortlessly, right? So once I started to receive the attention of males a lot more, at more of a I guess a rate, a standard. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say. Obviously, the hate started even more. So I say all of this to say, do not ever find yourself in a situation where you are male-centered. It really will destroy your life. It will destroy your life if you are that, or if you allow yourself to be around people who are that. There was one specific instance in the show where Toni had needed Joan to show up for her for a court case because she was going through a custody battle. And Joan, being the male-centered person that she was not able to show up for her friend on time. And this was a crucial moment. And this is where the whole male-centered ideologies and the mindset is. When someone is male-centered, they care about the attention of either one man or a specific man or a group of men more than anything. So if it comes down to showing up for you or showing up to be seen by another man, it's always going to be they'll choose that man over you. And this is not to say, I'm not talking about women or the diamonds who are in healthy, successful, thriving marriages or relationships. This is not the message for you. This is the message for the diamonds who put so much of an emphasis on relationships or being picked or chosen by a man that your entire life is gone to crap. And you think just because, if at least I have a man, then everything is okay. This is the message for those type of diamonds. Please don't ever allow yourselves to be in that situation. Don't ever let it get that bad. And also do not ever, ever come into any type of agreement or friendship with a woman who thinks that way. Because there will come a time where it will be either betrayal, deceit, or disappointment, because their love of attention of man will come over the responsibility or the connection that you have. Do not be a Joan and be a Toni. So when you are thinking about, listen, how can I get myself ahead? How can I figure out, how can I enjoy my life? How can I do what makes me happy? Think about it from the perspective of, if I only have me for the rest of my life, what would I be doing? Because a lot of people hold off for things. A lot of diamonds, they hold off on doing things because what about, I want to think about this person. I want to get this person. I want to do that. Think about yourself. And I'm telling you, being self-absorbed, self-centered, conceited, whatever, what is it, conceited? Yeah. Conceited, whatever you may think, there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. However, there is something wrong with being male-centered. And we see this so much throughout a lot of friendships, women friendships in sitcoms. Think about Sex and the City. And these are just two shows that I name, right? Girlfriends and Sex and the City, right? There is a issue with male-centered women And I don't want you to be that person, and I don't want you to come into friendships or agreements with those type of people. I love you, diamonds, and I want you to take this message and realize how important it is to think of yourself and make sure that you are not living your life based off of the the desire to be chose or picked by someone else. I love you, diamonds, and I'll talk to you soon.